Welcome back, everyone, to another Up to the Time presentation. Today, we'll be looking at polygon creation. We'll be focusing on irregular polygons. In a previous tutorial, I covered regular polygons. So what I would do is play the definition of a polygon. A polygon is a closed shaped figure that has a minimum of 3 sides and 3 vertices. The term poly means many and gon means angle. Thus, polygons have many angles. The perimeter and area of polygon depends upon its types. The classification of polygons is described based on the number of sides and vertices. Now, polygon creation. So I gave my students a word exercise, and it asks of them to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 polygons. And this first one stumped them, and it would stump anyone, to be honest with you. This first question here has a discrepancy, but I'll explain all that later. In this particular exercise, seeing that this is a beginner exercise, I want to explain what you'll be learning, the tools that you'll be learning in this particular exercise. You'll be learning how to use line, erase, circle, trim, extend, dimensions, notes, and layers. And while using the line tool, you would also learn how to insert angles. So let's go. So we are here at figure 1. I'm going to take out my annotations. I'm going to use right. Yeah, that works. Good. And let's explain this. So what's the strategy? The question asks, draw the figure 1 ABCD, where AB is 30. So that means 30 is in here. The distance there from A to B is 30. And then they say B to C is 25. So that would be here. B to C would be 25. That would be where our 25 would be. B to C here. Yeah. And then it says C to D is 38. Oh, wow. This is the issue here. This C to D is not 38. That can't be 38. Because then the question asks, determine and state the length of C to D in millimeters. So if C to D is 38, why would they ask this question? If you understand what I'm saying. The actual issue here is A to D is our 38. So I'm going to put, this is what is 38. This is where the 38 goes on this side, right? So this should be A to D. Instead of C, that should be A. A to D is 38. And then you would determine and state the length of C to D in millimeters. So let us work with this information now that I've recognized this. So let's just work with it now, and let's start drawing. A to B is 30. And for this, I would recommend you use your ortho. However, sometimes I move between the ortho mode and the polar tracking mode. But I will put on the ortho, and sometimes you will see me move over to the polar tracking mode. It depends on what I'm doing. So the ortho isn't always on. But I have a good idea and a good strategy for finding my horizontal and my vertical lines when I'm in the polar tracking mode. A to B is 30, 30. Enter. All right. That's A to B. They tell us now that the angle at B to C is 120 millimeters. So what are we going to do now? We are going to create B to C at 120 degrees, sorry, and 25 millimeters. Excuse me there. So hit L. Well, we know nothing. Okay, so let's clear this off. Actually, I'm going to write over this so that I'll always keep the strategy up. So we know this is 120, but we can't put 120 in the computer because it's going to give us 120 on the opposite side, right? So we want an angle there, and we know that there is 120. So let me just use the screen. We know that there is 120. So what is this angle? We know the full thing is 180 degrees, right? That's what we know. So we can come down here to our calculator. If you're not very good at math, you can then put in 120, subtract 180, and ta-da, you get 60. I got minus 60 because I placed it in the wrong order. But 60 is the number that you're looking for, nevertheless. And then that would be 60. So why was this important? Because 60 is the number that I'm going to have to put into my AutoCAD to get that angle here. So alpha line, and we come and hover right back here over the endpoint, and I click. And the distance is 25, so I'm going to push it up, type 25, and then hit Tab on the keyboard, and then insert 60 and hit Enter. All right, so that's my B to C. That's inserted properly. Now let's go over here at A. A, however, is 115 degrees. This is correct as it stands because the angle is going to go in this direction, and this is where I want it to go. The reason why I had to put in that 60 degrees is because if I had put in 120 for B, the angle would have gone in this direction, right? It should have been parallel to that. They always read it in that direction, so I had to do some calculations to get it in the correct direction that I wanted to go. All right. So let me just put this in here. I think I can clear some of this on the drawing. I'll just leave that like that. So this is alpha line. Come to this endpoint, click, pull up. Again, just pushing it upward, pushing your mouse upward, and then I'm typing in 38 tab 115, enter. And that is A to D. Now, it's fairly easy what we have to do next. We just connect D to C, and that's how we get our first shape done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this down here is A, copy. Why do I copy? Because I generally don't really recreate the text. I just copy and edit. I find it's easier. A, B, C, and then this one is D. Right? I'm going to move D outside so that D will be in the drawing. Now, I'm going to show the dimensions. So for this, I go here and I press this tab, and I'm going to use align. All right. Click from D to A. That tells me that's 38, which it should be. Hit enter to reuse the same command. A to B, that's 30. Enter again to reuse the same command. Snap out B and snap out C. 25, then enter. And this is the question. This is the answer to the question wanted. What was determine and state the length of C to D? And that is 59.94. Also, we need to show our angles. Our angles are correct. So for that, I go up to this tab again where you see a big A and the dimension. Yep, you pull down this tab and we go to angular. Right? This creates an angular dimension. So it's a form of a dimension tool. And that's our angles there. 115 at A and 120 at B. So that's done. What I can do is I can clear this off now, clear the drawing, and we can then move on to another drawing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to figure 2. So let's look at figure 2 and see what figure 2 asks of us. Figure 2 asks us to create this shape ABCD, ABCDE. So it's a 5-sided shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sides. That's easy to identify. And A to B is 30. So that's our 30 there. B to C is 60. That's 60 there. Right? B to C, 60 here. C to D, 60 again. Come on, it's 60. And then D to E is 75. All right. And A to D to E is 75. And A to E is 50. Okay. Okay. So this is how it looks. And these are the angles that they give us. These two angles, the angle at B and the angle at A. All right, I think with this information, we should be good. So the alpha line, and I'm going to draw A to B, which is 30, 30, push it in the horizontal direction to the right. And again, I want this angle. So again, what's the strategy for discovering this? So we know this here, this full angle would have to be 180 degrees. So that's 180 degrees. And if you subtract 150 from that, you will get subtraction. What would you get? So you put 150 in there. And again, if you don't want to use your brain, use your calculator. It's another party. It's another tool that you've been given. So it's 30. What do you know? If you didn't know, that's 30. And the reason why I do that is because some people actually try to guess this thing, you know. And some people aren't that good at math. And I've seen people guess and made some mistakes just to prove to somebody else that they're good without, you know, trying to do it the way that they need to do it. So that's why I always go when I use a calculator. So it's to get my students into the idea of not being ashamed to use the calculator. All right. So what am I doing now? I'm placing in the distance between B to C, and that is 60. So type 60, then hit tab, and the angle is 30. Enter. Good. So that's my B to C there. Next thing now is I need to put in my A to my E. Alpha line. Snap here at A, and I'm going to just push it up. Type 50, tab, and 120 the angle. All right. So that's my E. Now, at this point, what do I need to do? I need to create a circle. All right, a circle that I'm going to start here at E and open up a radius. So this then becomes R75. So somewhere over here will be an arc. So it's a bit of an exaggeration. So somewhere over here is an arc. And then I'm going to do the same at C. Open up a radius. And that then now becomes R60. Right? And somewhere over here, it will create an arc. And where these two arcs meet, that's where my point D would be. All right, that's the strategy to discovering D. So let's come back over here to point E. And I open up a circle. So that's C for circle, enter. Snap the point, open up and type 75 is the radius. and then enter again, or hit C for circle again to repeat the same command. Open up the circle at point C and type 60, and the two meet right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a point, POI, and that's in there. Oh, I can't see my point, so I'm going to type DDP, enter, and I select my point. So, okay. Alpha line, and let's join these. Right. So now it's time for me to label and dimension. So I'm just going to grab a letter here, A, copy, and I'm going to go around and just snap the same at the points. Cool. All right, now I need to show the angles. This is 120 degrees right here, and this one is 150 degrees right there. Now, dimensions, I'm going to be using a line dimension, 75, 16, 16, 30, 50. So far, so good. I'm just going to move these two drawings, moving this first drawing more to the left. Actually, I'm going to stick it up into the corner. In this figure, A, B, C, D, E. Again, another five-sided figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a five-sided pentagon, but it's irregular. None of these sides are the same. So A to B is 46. Yeah. B to C, 38. C to D, 30. D to E, 44. And A to E, 32. So place everything into the correct position so that we can read this drawing better. Also, what is this symbol here? This symbol, what is this symbol right here? That there means 90 degrees. So in this particular problem, we have two angles to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to be first creating this line. So let's see, let's try what we're going to do first. This is the first thing we're going to do first, then we're going to go here second, then we're going to go here third. And then at these points, we're going to be creating circles. Yeah, we're going to create a circle. Like that. That's the best I could do. And then we're going to create another circle. Make that one interact there. All right. So wherever these two circles interact would be our intersection for finding D. Similarly to what we did in the previous question. So let's get to this now. A to B is 46. A to E is 32. And we need to do the calculation here. So again, I'm going to put in 110, subtract 180, and I get 70. So my angle is 70. The alpha line, pull up, type in the distance we want to go, 38, tab, 17. All right. Cool. See the circle at this point, open up our circle to 30 millimeters. enter, snap here. Again, to repeat the circle command, open this up to 44. And look right here, we get a point. And this is where our point D is located. And I'm just drawing it in. So I'm going to copy the letters from somewhere and then label this. So this one is done. It's fairly easy. So just go over and I double click and open up the text box, and then I'm able to change the letters. Let's check our angles.
That's supposed to be 90 degrees, that's correct. That's supposed to be 119. Alright, so far so good.
So for this one, let me see. Let's count how many sides it has again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5-sided shape. But we have something that's interesting. We see that there's a semicircle from E to C. Right? There's a semicircle there. So what's happening in there? Let's read this note. A right angle is formed at the apex when a triangle is drawn in a semicircle. So what does this mean is if we have this as a point, let's use this as green. This is a point, and this is a point, and we try to draw any triangle using those 2 points. Wherever we go to there, this is going to be 90 degrees. No matter wherever we go, we are always going to get back 90. So if we try to trick the system or try to think we could trick and go to here and there, it's still going to be 90 degrees. All right. So that's what that means in a nutshell. So let's clear that. And now let's look at using this information for creating figure 4. A to B is 55. Let's just put this in over here. A to B has 55. And then B to C is 26. C to D. They're not giving us C to D. So that's the question. They're giving us A to E, which is 42. And E to D is 16. All right. And they've given us 2 angles. So this one can be put in. This one we need to continue and find out the angle in here. All right. So what is the angle in here? So that's the first thing we're going to try to discover. Let's bring up the calculator and let's put in 180 minus 180 minus 105. And that's 75. So the angle in there, I'm going to put it in green, is 75. All right. It's 75 there. So I think we have everything we need to start this next problem. So let's come down here and let's go alpha line. A to B is 55. 55. B to C is 26 with an angle of 75. So type in 26 tab 75 enter. Good. Leave it there. Then just come over here by A and create E. A to E is 42. 42 tab 115. Okay. We got those in. Now I'm going to use a different layer. So I'm going to use my hidden layer. So this is the hidden construction. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a line from point E over to point C. Right? So let me just show you that you can follow along. I'm going to do it in green over here. E to C. I created that line. And on this line, I'm looking for the halfway point, right? Halfway point. Right? And the half point is just there for argument's sake. It's somewhere around here. Right? That is where I'm going to pitch my circle. So let's come here and let me look for my halfway point, and it's going to come up as a triangle. Look, see midpoint, and I'm going to put a point there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a semicircle. So I'm going to hit C for circle and open up the circle either to E or open it up to this point here. Either point. And I'm going to trim TR to trim and just remove the bits of the circle that I don't want, because I only want half of this circle. Because I'm creating a semicircle. Now that I've done that, the next step now is to create a circle from E. So I'm going to come here from E and open up R60, right? Radius 60. So I'm going to come here and open up R60. And wherever it cuts, does it cuts here? Then I'm going to connect that back to there. And then this would be my complete product. And that would be 90. And I know that in here will be 60. And then we would then measure to find out what that missing point there is, right? Okay, so let's leave this on here and see how good I am. Open it up to 60. I'm far off. So it's done to here we go. To there. All right. Let me match chart MA. So they want to put it on this there. Right. So that's where my 60 finds itself on the semicircle. That's how it looks. So let's now clear all this and let's just measure. Right, so put in the angles first. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I'm finished here, I'm going to put everything into the proper layer. But for right now, I'm just working quickly. So that problem is finished. So let's move on to this problem. So this next problem is a similar problem where we have to create a semicircle and get the distance of D to E by using semicircle technique. Is what I mean here. You got to use this, and in this one, they don't give you D to E, so D to E is a question mark. However, they give you A to E, which is over here, which is 25. Yeah. But first, before we do that, we must create our semicircle and find the halfway point. Okay, the halfway point is needed. Okay, so just put that there. Okay. All right. So let's get to this because it's quite similar. So let's go through A to B. A to B is 50. A to B is 50, which is down here. A to B is 50. B to C is 45. C to D is 40. And B to C is 45, 40. And A to C Okay, it's 25, which I already have here. Okay, so we should be able to put this together. And they give us these two angles, which are right angles, which are both of these angles are equal to 90 degrees. If you didn't know, right? Now you know. All right, that's simple. Okay. Now I'm going to get back into my construction work. A to B is 15. Then go up 42. Then go across 42. And put that there. And we connect to max drop it. Like that. So you can see. Find the center line. See the circle hover over the midpoint. Open up the circle there. Trim. PR for trim. Get rid of the excess. And now we have that. And now we come here at this point where it's A. I'll open up the circle. 25. Alpha line, and we connect this point where they intersect back to here, and here, back to here. Gonna put this into that. So we can see those are hidden lines to help us with our construction. Okay, so what I need to put onto here, I need to label these last two joints. So just grab a random. So we can clear this one, and we can move on to this next one. But first, before we do that, let's arrange these things on in here. This, you're going to assume that this is 90 degrees. C to D, 28. Now, at this point, we need to open up a circle. So I put that there. And at that point, we need to open up a circle. Both these circles are going to be 32. So 32 there. So I put R32. And I put R32. Right? Circle. And then that brings us to here. Now, what that means is that when we get the R32, we take the tangent from there and connect it to there. Create a tangent line from the circle to the circle. So I'll put here tangent. N, G, E, N, T. Tangent, right? Tangent. So that's the strategy. So let's go. So far, I already created the A to B, which is 50, the B to C, which is 28. And now I'm going to create my A to E, open up my circle at A, and create 32. There it is. So seeing that both these are going to the same radii, I can just copy and paste that there. All good. Now alpha line, and then just grab the point. And I go to, I see tangent. Tangent is there. Now, tangent is there. So I have created my two tangents, but see if the correct thing. I'll tell you what I mean. The distance between E to D is specific. They want us to use 50. Right? It's here. So that means that this has to be 50. How are we going to check that? It's going to be pretty easy. DI Nope, this is 57. Even if we go properties, when we look at the line, it's 57. So we want this to be 50. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here in the middle and I'm going to hit C for circle and create a circle that is 25 radius, right? That is where my 25 radius circle connects. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off this bit on that side and trim off that bit. So I know for sure my line is 50. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap here this line and move this and bring this right in place here at this intersection. And that is going to fall into play over here too. I'm going to move that. M to move and bring it right there. Okay, good. That there is my connection. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit L for line and connect these. And that there is how I would reason that out. So let us put in the angles, no, the dimensions. So that there is 50. 50, it's 53, see? Okay. All right, see what happened here. Measure to the wrong place. So this is where my 50 is going to be. There again. You know what's the best thing to do? Once we get a point here, open up and hit 50. Yeah. There's your 50 there, right? And then you can then put it in. No mistake. And then this now will connect to there. And then that also should be 32. And I tell you, this is a lot of problem solving if you don't know what you're doing. All right, cool. These dimensions, 28. And this last one here is 57. Where A to B is 50. Down here, A to B is 50. A to D is 35, which is here. Interesting. C to D is 45. State the length for B to C. So this is the question mark. They only give us one angle. Wow. One angle 120 degrees. Now this is going to be really interesting. So how do I go about this? We go about it the normal way. Whereas we would just create A to B first. And then open up a circle. So that is a R, 45. There's a R, 35. Yeah. But question here is what angle is this in here? That we're going to put that up. Well, we don't know that. That is the thing that we don't know. So how I would put it is that you got to choose your angle. Yeah. You choose your angle there and make it work. Right? So let's go. A to B, that's what I'm gonna do. A to B is 50. C to D is 45. Open up. 45 radius, nice. And C to D is 35, yeah. And this here, to me, it doesn't look like 90, so it looks like a 120. I'm going to call this 120 degrees. It could be wrong, but I got to see. So you're going to say 35, tab 120, and that is where my 120 puts me at 35. It might not be there, but you know what? You gotta try something. Was that a good decision? We will soon find out. Now, from here, I need to create a 120 degrees. How am I going to do this? Oh, well, I know how to create from this point 90 degrees, right? Because I know if I create a circle here, and I were to extend EX, just to extend that, this would be, so if I trim here, right? Now this would be half, so that there's my 90 degrees. I know that there for sure. And here's my 90 degrees, right? So I can even trim this. And I know that in here is my 90 degrees. Now, what I need is I need a third of 90 degrees. Yeah? A third of 90 degrees. The first third is 30, the second third is 60, and the third third will be 90. So what I can do is I can even keep back this and split this into two by breaking it, right? Why did I do that? Because that is going to help me now when I divide this into three. DIV, then hit 3, enter. So this is what I need now. I need this one here, back to there. Now what that gives me is my 90 plus 30 is my 120. So let's check it out. So let's go here. Angular, 1, 2, that's my 120 in there. So you know that's my 120. And from that point at 120, I know I got to go C to D, which is, oh, no, C to D is, wait, hold on. No, C to D is 45, but C to B, they don't tell you. So I know you're going to come here. So let me just correctly change this. C to D is 45. The C to B is the question mark. All right, so C to D is 45 here, but C to B is a question mark. So you got to find out that distance. So what does this mean? This means you can just come here and open up a circle and make it 45. Good. And then extend. Extend that to there. So that's where you know my point C is. You put a point there. That's point C. And then from there, just join. Just join on the way there. And that is my point D. Yeah. So for this one, you had to know how to divide a semicircle into 3 parts. Know how to divide a quarter circle into 3 parts. All right. So let's label this now. So this last one here, we got to do many things. First, we got to find this angle here, and this, if I remember, is going to be 75. Yeah. So that's the first thing we got to find. We got to find C to D, the midpoint, the halfway point here. That's what we got to find to get D, E to C, sorry. They give us this angle and this angle. And they give us A to B with these dimensions, 50. B to C, 30. C to D. Nope, they don't give us. D to E, 50. And A to E, 20. So with this, we should be able to get everything done. Now, so let's go here. Let's pick a point and start. A, draw my FA to keep my ortho on. A to B, 15. B to C is 13 with an angle of 75. All right, keep it there. Come back over here at this point. A to E is 20 with an angle of 112.5. Enter. And you connect that. Find the halfway point. C for circle. Hover over the middle till you see midpoint. And if you don't see midpoint, you're trying to get that, you can come here to your object snap and turn on your midpoint. Enter. Go to the edge. Good. See the circle. Come here to this point. I'll open up to 50. Alpha line there at the intersection. Yeah. Connect. Alright, let's match. Yeah, I'll put these in the correct edge. Alright, let's label this now. We got some labeling to do. Think I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to create another title block. So I'm going to copy this out like this. Just keep on my ortho. Put the other bit here. Right. So I'm just going to randomly just put these in here. When I say randomly, I mean I don't know which figure is which. Just putting them in here. Right? Okay. So everything is all set. There, I can bring this closer. The optional, okay, and everything comes there. So this is everything finished. And what did I do today? I created these polygons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 polygons I created, and I explained what is the strategy for getting started right up to completion. The next thing is I use many tools. I use the line tool, I use the circle tool, I use the erase tool, I use the trim, the extend dimension, notes as in text, and now I'm going to show you how to put things into the correct layer. Alright, so before I do that, I'm going to maximize the screen, and what I can do is I'm just going to draw a line. I think this is a very nice way of doing it. And I'm going to draw a dimension line above here. I'm going to draw a line for every one of my layers. The reason I'm going to do this is to show people how to actually match drop. Yeah. Instead of all the time going up here to the menu and placing things into the layers. And the reason why I have seen students, no, the reason why I'm showing this is because I've seen students struggle with this part. They struggle and they get frustrated. For example, like my student would want to select each of these lines, right? And then he gets here, and then he moves on. So he wants to put this into outline. And then something like that happens. Oh my God, he selected the wrong layer. He selected the dimension rather than selecting this layer. You know what he does? He escapes and drops the selection. So he has to go back and select. That's a lot of time wasting. So if something like that did happen, so let's just select the dimension layer with that. And this is what you can do. You can just put it in the outline and then just take that and put that into dimension layer just like that. It's pretty easy. But I'm going to show you how to match drop. So if I have my layer here, I can just match drop. This is the dimension, and then I can just go around and hover. And as I hover, I then activate. So I don't have to click and then realize, hey, I made a mistake. And what am I going to do? I just hover, and where I want this to click, it changes to the color. So that's why I prefer using match drop in many instances, right? So what I've done is I'm going to update this template so that when I start, I actually have a line representing every single layer on the outside so that I can match up easily without ever having to go into my layer menu. Sorry, so that I can organize my joints in the correct layers without ever having to go into my layer menu. I think it's going to make my life smoother and make my workflow a little more efficient. Right? So that's why I've just done that. Then I escape and I'm done. Now I'm going to text. I'm going to now put all my letters in the text there to see that. It makes a drawing, it enhances the presentation. So I would always encourage the student to take a little time and just organize your drawing and put them into the correct place. So I've done that. I've done all my dimensions. I think that is it. Now, this is what the final exercise should look like when you're finished with your construction circles, your dimensions, and your objects outlined. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Join me again. And please practice, and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm out.